let's say this morning I woke up really, really sad. Just really, really sad. But, which happens. I carry depressive tendencies and have had issues with depression my entire life. Uh, so let's say this morning, hypothetically, I woke up really, really sad. Mm. Well, in the absence of radical honesty, I might ignore that. I might just ignore it. I might not pay attention to that because, well, that's not going to work. I have Sangha to teach today, and I have so much to do, and X, Y, Z, right? So that's the first danger to be avoided, is just bowling right past it because I don't have time for that. But then let's say I was mindful enough, right, sitting there on the edge of my bed, following my first few breaths, committing to be mindful all day as I do each morning. That's what this neck, I wear two necklaces right now. This one is my practice, right? So I put this on when I get out of bed in the morning and I say to myself, like, okay, I wear the Dharma on my heart, which means I want to be paying attention with love all day. And then this one, the second one, I put on top of it. And this one represents patience. And I say, if I'm going to take that on, like, that's heavy. I'm going to take that practice on all day. I better do it with patience. I better cover that practice in patience. Because I know I can only do so much each day. So let's say during that moment, I catch it. And I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa. I can't start thinking about, like, setting up the tech for the Sangha today. I'm really sad. I need to look at that sadness. And so I plop down my cushion, splash some water on my face, and sit down. And just let myself be sad. If I do that for long enough, what I have observed in myself is right underneath that sadness is anger. That sadness is almost like a beer. It's like a numbing that I'm doing. I'm like getting depressed and moving slow and withdrawing from other people and feeling less. Right? And typically, and I'm just speaking for myself personally now, but the example I think will help all of us. You may experience a different sequence of emotions, but the truths underneath the feelings will remain the same. So for me, right underneath that sadness is rage. I'm really angry about something. But I don't want to be angry. Right? Being angry sucks. Everybody's afraid of you. Everybody thinks there's something wrong with you. People treat you really poorly if you walk around the world being angry. They don't like you. They avoid you. And I know that. And so I don't want to be angry. Right? And the way I repress that anger unhealthily is through sadness. I've heard depression defined as rage unexpressed. I don't know if that's true for everybody. But that's true for me. And so, there I am, right? I'm on my cushion, and now I'm furious, right? My jaw is clenched, my body is tense, my face is flushed, and I'm directing in my mind that anger, like, because I'm angry at something. At something, right? The anger is not disattached. And so I have to then watch the whole story and watch my brain being angry at the other person and the situation that I'm trafficking in, that I woke thinking about in that sadness. I'm likely also angry at myself, right? Like, why didn't you say X or do Y or insist on Z? Right? Even as I'm blaming the other person for the difficulty, I'm blaming myself too. Like, but I shouldn't have allowed this. I should have known better, as if I have some omniscience, some capacity to know another person's mind or to see into the future, which we know we don't have. And so sometimes I'll get up off the cushion then, right? Because I'm used to that story. Like, I'm really familiar with that story. I have been experiencing waves of anger my entire life. I was raised by a very angry person, so there's been anger in the room since the day I was born. Since the day I was born. But this is where radical honesty kicks in, because I also know, sitting on that cushion and experiencing that anger, that there must be something more. There must be something more, because I've spent so many years looking at the anger and I still haven't healed it. It still keeps coming back. And so on that day, I sit the cushion for a little bit longer and I ask myself quietly in my mind, over and over again, what are you really feeling? What are you really feeling? What are you really feeling? And for a long time, I can sit there for a long time and the answer will be anger, anger, anger. But eventually, for me, again, this is unique to me, eventually the answer is, oh, God, I'm so afraid. Oh my God, I'm so afraid. Why am I so angry over, the business thing or the personal thing or the, piece of news? Like, why am I so angry? Why do I care that much? And why is that caring expressing itself in such a unbeneficial, even violent way? And I care so much because I'm afraid. Because I'm afraid. Like, whatever's happening, whether it's the new horrifying news coming through the internet, whether it's the unskillful text from friend or family member, whether it's the disappointing email from business collaborator, whatever it is that's triggering me, I care. I care at a very deep level about it. It's touching my identity somewhere. And that's where we're most vulnerable. And so what I'm really feeling is fear. But man, I really don't want to feel fear. I don't want to have that feeling. I don't want to hear that story. I don't want to have that experience. And so I put all these layers on top of it subconsciously. Piles and piles and piles of rage. And then to kind of mask the rage, a thin blanket of sadness. And that's what's sitting there. Ah! Like, who wants to move that blanket? Jeez. There's dread at the bottom of it. You're like, oh, it's terrible. It's terrible. It's the dark corner I never dust, And this is our situation, my friends. This is our situation.